The second thing that we got to talk about here is Jock Landale and Zach Collins and the minute split. Really, we got to talk about the whole conversation of the backup big man position as a whole, this whole season. It's been a carousel this entire season. The Spurs have taken every opportunity to showcase Jakob Poeltl's development. Jakob Poeltl has logged a career high 29 minutes per game, leaving the depth chart to battle it out for scraps, pretty much. Drew Eubanks, who is now on a 10-day contract with the Portland Trail Blazers, started off the season getting primary backup minutes. How does that happen? Thaddeus Young, who was next in line after Drew Eubanks, is now a Toronto Raptor. So, that leaves us with two players on our depth chart, and that's Jock Landale and newly healthy Zach Collins to spot Jakob the remainder of this season. And it should be noted that the Spurs like to throw Keita Bates-Diop in there as a small ball center. So we'll leave that there. Now, what's extremely important to know and why this is important to pay attention to for the remainder of this season is because Keita Bates-Diop, Jock Landale, and Zach Collins, all their contracts are all non-guaranteed contracts after this season. Now, I know that's unlikely. I don't really see the Spurs just not guaranteeing any of their deals. That's a very unspursy like thing to do, but it is a real possibility. It's a version of the future that is out there that can happen, that the Spurs choose to not guarantee their contracts. And then Jakob can literally be the only big man on the roster for next season, heading into next season. And then he will be on an expiring deal as well. Although I must say I'm not quite sure that, that means that the Spurs are locked into Jakob. On the contrary, I think that the Spurs have other visions when it comes to their big man spot for the long term, and this is purely speculation here, right? But the fact that they've been shopping Jakob around this entire season and very heavily around the trade deadline just makes me think that he's going to be a valuable trade piece during this offseason, especially around the NBA draft. And it's around the NBA draft where they have to start making these decisions on their contracts, on the other guys' contracts, like Zach Collins. His deal needs to be picked up the day after the draft if he's going to be guaranteed for the next season. So, around draft time, we're going to find a lot. We're going to find out a lot about the future of the big man spot for this club. Now, as of late, what we're seeing on the floor is the Spurs are giving Zach Collins the opportunity to play and the opportunity to prove himself that he's healthy and that he's ready to go. And so maybe we should guarantee his deal. Zach has been averaging 16 minutes since he came back into the fold, where he has shown both signs of being a little bit rusty, which you would expect after missing basketball for about 2 seasons. And also he's shown some high interest points of like glimpses of his past self, right? He's showing aggression. He's showing the ability to pass the ball. He's learning, he's picking it up quick, and it's good stuff that you're seeing out of Zach. It's not all bad. But he seems to be having the primary backup role as of right now, which leaves to question the amount of playing time there is going to be for Jock Landale and Bates-Diop to make their cases to guarantee their deals for the remaining of this season. Or the Spurs can just go double big, right? Just kidding. Yeah, we know that's never going to happen. The Spurs have rarely put Jakob and Jock Landale out there on the floor at the same time. That's not something that they've done that often. They have done it a few times, or Jakob and Zach Collins, or Zach Collins and Jock Landale. Some lineup like that we're not seeing. We know the Spurs are going small ball. So that's number 2. Keep an eye out for the minute split at the backup center spot, because there's a lot of stakes there, right? Some guys' contracts are kind of being dependent on that. Now, again, like I said, I think the Spurs are probably going to end up guaranteeing everybody's contract. Now, does that mean that they're also going to stay on the Spurs? No, but they're going to be very flexible. The Spurs are very flexible right now with what they can do with those guys, right? And Jakob, we'll see what happens with him around trade deadline. It all depends what the Spurs do in the NBA draft and who they draft. to me is going to determine if Jakob is actually going to be on this team next season. I mentioned it before that I think one of the reasons why the Spurs did not trade him at the trade deadline was one, just to see where his market value was at that certain point, so they can know in the future, this is where he's at. And also I think they did that to keep DJ honest, right? I mean, we want to give him some type of help, right? And right now, DJ and Jakob have a great combination, a great chemistry happening on the pick and roll.